Welcome to Beyond the Front Door podcast with Lindee and Rhea at Peak Properties. We are real estate agents in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we bring you stories that make you laugh, cry, cringe, and inform you. Come on in. We put the real in real estate.
Yeah. Okay. So welcome, everybody. Thank you to Beyond the Front Door podcast with Lindee and Rhea. We are so excited to have you here today. And joining us are Brenda and John Lyttle, here to talk about the Atlas Theater. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for being here. I was just saying to Brenda and John that people listening to this will know them because they are well known in our community. Rhea's newer to Cheyenne, so she probably doesn't remember hearing your name with like the school board and am I saying yes.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I was the superintendent of the school district.
That's right. That's
Before
right.
I retired.
Yeah.
Right. And then Brenda with the state and DFS. And why don't you guys start by telling us a little bit about what you did and where you came from.
Where are you from?
Yep.
Tell us about yourself. Your family.
You bet. Love to. So I grew up in Iowa. I'm a small town Iowa town kid. I moved here with my first husband in 1979 and got involved with Cheyenne Little Theater right away.
Really?
So I had done a lot of fun theater work when I was in high school and college. I was a theater minor in college. So when I moved here, my family recommended that I start getting involved with Cheyenne Little Theater, and I did. And I showed up one day to a set build at Cheyenne Little Theater, and I said, "My name is Brenda, and I need to make some friends." And he said, it was John Carroll, who was a legend. He used to own Unicover. Okay. And he was I don't know if you guys remember Unicover.
I don't know what Unicover is.
It did first day stamps. It produced stamps. Anyway, it was a big medals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got it.
And he owned Unicover, and he's legendary not only in the community but in the theater as well. And he handed me a hammer and said, "Here's a hammer. Get to work." And I've been involved in Cheyenne Little Theater ever since.
So I was just doing some quick math. That's about 46 years.
That's
wow.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm 67, and I was about 20 when I moved here, so that's about right. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever met anybody that's been involved in a charity for that long. I mean, what commitment? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's my second family. It's fun. I get to sing and dance with my friends and hang out with people I love, so
I love that.
It makes it fun.
Okay.
Okay, well, I grew up in Casper and went to college to study art education at the University of Wyoming. And I got my first job in Cheyenne, and happened to be 1979. And I was asked to design a set for Cheyenne Little Theater. So I had acted in high school, in Natrona County High School. So I did that, and then ended up being on the board. And actually, in those early days, Brenda and I both served on the board. Both of us had opportunities for different positions, and both of us ended up being president of the board. And I think we have probably, over that 46 years, we have been board president more than anybody else. We would be gone for a while and come back, but involved very early. And I had auditioned for a play at the Mary Godfrey Playhouse over by East High School, and was in that. And then I heard about this thing called the melodrama, which we do every summer. I didn't know the two things were connected. I was just an actor on somebody that wanted to act, and got in the melodrama. And then actually we did melodramas and directed together over the years and became good friends. And eventually we ended up marrying each other.
Sounds like
at
it was
the
meant
Atlas.
to be. At the Atlas. I love that.
You did. Yeah, that's perfect.
That is really amazing. And Brenda, but you're with this, like, in the big girl job or the daytime job, you're with the state, right?
Not any longer.
Anymore, but
I'm my career path is I'm a lawyer. So when I worked for the state of Wyoming, I was an administrator, and I ran the child support enforcement program for a long time, which required somebody to be an attorney to be able to do that. So I worked at the state as an administrator for quite a while, and then I left the state, and then I worked for National Debt Relief as a debt relief attorney, which was really fascinating and fun. You learn a lot about some real hardships that are going on with Wyoming families that sometimes we don't realize or understand. And now I'm retired, but I have a couple clients on the side. Once a lawyer, always a lawyer.
Sure. Yeah, I would have to imagine. You stay busy. So you're here to talk about the Atlas Theater, and it sounds like there's some new things going on.
There are.
Tell us about that. What's going on?
So when I first became involved with the theater way back when, there was a lot of talk about the renovation of the Atlas Theater. So Cheyenne Little Theater bought the Atlas back in 1971, which is not that far away from when John and I moved here. And there was a lot of talk at that time about renovating it. And we had an engineer come up and do engineering studies, but it required a lot of money and a lot of time. And the board of directors of Cheyenne Little Theater has the main focus of putting on plays. That's what they do, musicals and plays. And so there was a crunch of time, a crunch of money, and trying to get some things done at the Atlas was just one too many things. But Cheyenne Little Theater has been talking about it for a long, long time. And I don't know if either of you have been in the Atlas, but you take one step into the Atlas and you will never forget it.
Sure.
And it takes over your heart and mind, and you just say, okay, this place is too precious to not renovate and keep and sustain and keep in our community. So then Cheyenne Little Theater formed a separate subcommittee saying we need some people who are not so much involved in the day-to-day production of plays and musicals, except John and I are, but so we're sort of the bridge people.
Well, you want something done, you give it to the busiest people.
Right? That's right. And so then the Friends of the Atlas was formed, and our complete focus is the renovation and sustaining of the Atlas Theater. We have a separate budget line item, separate bank account, all those kind of things, but we're still under the 501c3 of Cheyenne Little Theater Players.
Okay. I was thinking, I have not been on a tour of the Atlas Theater, which I need to do, but I've seen pictures and have walked by it. I do need to get in there because the ambiance, and correct me if I'm wrong, it does to speak to what you're saying about it capturing your heart. It reminds me just a little bit of Ford Theater in DC. That same historical feel to it, and just the, what do you want to call the layout, and just the ambiance is really the best way I can. And I love Ford Theater, and I need to get into the Atlas Theater.
You do. I think I showed you last time. I actually had my wedding reception at the Atlas.
I
did. I got married in Mexico, but then when I came back, that's where I picked to have it. It is.
I think I remember talking to your mom about that.
Yeah.
Think of
it's
it.
just it is a special
place.
Yeah, just in a comment I'd like to make. About 5 years ago, Architectural Digest wanted to name the most iconic site representation of every state. And in Virginia, it was a Pentagon. In Missouri, it was a Gateway Arch. In Wyoming, they selected the Atlas Theater.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and when you talked about the Ford Theater, I mean, that kind of connection of the same kind of time frame, early history of our country.
Yes.
And it was, and as Brenda said, it was built in 1887, and then they added the theater portion in 1908. Did vaudeville theater in those days, in the very early days before community theater got a hold of it. Theater companies traveled all over the United States, and that's how they provided theater. They would book, and they would come and they'd do vaudeville or other kinds of shows. So it's kind of like a
venue that
it was
productions
originally
traveled.
Yes.
Okay.
And it also had a jewelry shop in it, and a coffee house. I mean, it had several uses throughout the decades.
Well, it has a little kitchen in it. Am I right? Or it did?
No, we don't have a kitchen in it. We cater our dinner theaters, but we have a full bar. So it does have a full bar.
Of with the one when Josh was in here talking about it, maybe it was a pantry.
Oh yeah, we do have that down in the basement underneath the bar.
Josh told us all about creepy spaces where they got
Yeah.
locked in.
Yes, and that's a creepy space.
Yeah, so that might have been.
It's down in the basement under the bar.
I'm thinking of the story of the little girl.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that not?
That's in the basement.
Okay.
He told that. I remember him
Okay.
telling that story. That little girl is in the basement.
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind me expanding on this a little bit,
yes.
we had they have since moved away, but we had a family who was very involved in the theater, and the wife of the family is a medium. Is that the right word? That can pick up spirits.
Yeah.
And she and I were talking one day, and she said the Atlas is full of spirits, because we only thought there was maybe 2 or 3,
Yeah.
but she said, oh no, it's full. So that's kind of what Josh was saying too, that
Sure.
that it's full of spirits. But I know the little girl was something that
Something
they
about her being
picked
in the
up on.
pantry door.
Yeah.
And I think she
And couldn't get out?
She got beat by her mom or something.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
And
But I
that
remember, I thought it was in a kitchen. So it must have been like the pantry.
yeah, it's downstairs below.
Okay.
It's in the basement below the bar where
Okay.
we keep our beer and wine and our dishes and cups and everything that we use for the melodrama.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about. And there's
Okay.
a pantry down there that
Yeah.
holds all that stuff.
Well,
okay.
and the upper floors were originally a hotel. So
Oh,
I'm
okay,
sure
sure.
there probably was a kitchen in the facility to help provide. You can see dumbwaiters and things like that.
Sure.
in the
Okay.
hotel,
Okay.
so.
So interesting.
So, what have there been renovations to it over the years, or have you tried to just preserve how it is?
I'm going to answer what I know, but John may know a little bit more about this. It's over 100 years old, so there's constant work that needs to be done, just regular maintenance kind of work. The big project that we first did was the outside of the Atlas. You might have noticed at some point it got painted. The outside got painted. So we redid some of the rock and facade that was on the outside of the building.
Okay.
And then replaced it. Some of the facade pieces were being held on by paint, so we had to secure those better. And then we repainted the outside of the building more along the lines of the original colors
Okay.
of the building, because it was, I think, black and white and gold, and then we've redone it more to the original colors. So that was step 1. But then when we started thinking, what do we have to do for step 2? We're looking at something that isn't quite so flashy and fun as painting the outside of the building. So what we discovered is that the second and third floors of the building were starting to sag because of some weight-bearing problems. There needs to be more weight-bearing columns in the lobby, because when the lobby was expanded, it created a weight-bearing problem that now we need to handle. We can't do anything with the second and third floors until we secure those floors,
Right.
so they are no longer sagging.
We talk about this in real estate all the time, right? That sometimes you do have to invest money in the not so flashy
Right.
things to preserve the integrity and the safety of the home. So in regular real estate, that could be load bearing walls. It could be plumbing or electricity. I'm sure you guys have had to face some of those not so sexy things
Constant.
over the years as well.
We have, and when it was purchased in 1971, and we talked to Bev Schrader from Schrader's Funeral Home that used to be in town, and she was on the board then. She said their goal was to really renovate the upper 2 floors, but never had the funds to do it. But like as Brenda mentioned, we brought in several different engineering studies over the years, and they said, okay, it's sagging. We used to do a haunted Atlas ghost thing, and then the fire department said you can't do that anymore. You can take 5 people up at a time. It's not going to fall through, but you shouldn't have
Sign a waiver.
sign a waiver. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And it's safe for a small number, but you can't put 30, 40, 50, 100 people upstairs anymore. And so as we brought in the current engineering, State Line number 7 architects and their engineer, they kind of opened up some of the upper floors up there and discovered that the design, because people who were looking at it were thinking of current design, like when you talk about in real estate, oh, they must have of taking out a wall there that was, holding things up. But the architects discovered in those days, they did the support from the top, as things joined together, kind of like a Roman column, to support the floors. And that's what's caused the sagging.
Oh, sure.
Because the story we all knew is like, oh, they took out some columns. No, they didn't. They never were in there. And so now they're putting some beams and some columns to take care of that.
Gotcha.
All the way down to the basement. So we're having to dig all the way down to the basement, and then putting holes in the ceiling so that these columns can go all the way up to the second and third floors. So it's a very expensive, massive project. But Ryman Corp is our contractor, and they tell us they're going to have it done by the end of the year.
Wow.
So we hope
So finally the second and third floors will be secured.
Secure.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
That's been a long time waiting.
It has been a long time waiting. We are just thrilled that we can get that done. But then all our money's gone.
Yeah, right.
We need more money.
So, but Cheyenne Little Theater belongs to an organization called the League of Historic American Theaters.
Okay.
And we're very involved with them. And we recently visited a historic theater in Levelland, Texas that got refurbished, and is gorgeous. So this organization is good at advising about different creative ways that we can find to find the money for the next step. But it's going to take some time.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is your next step then?
Refurbishing the second and third floors.
Okay.
Yeah, but we
Okay.
need to figure out what we want to use them for, Rhea.
Yes, that's what I was just wondering. Yes.
Yeah, so there's mixed opinions about that. Whoever you ask, I have strong opinions about how I think it should be used, but other people have other opinions how they think it should be used.
Some of the discussions is centered around maybe doing a black box theater upstairs, or a reception room, for some of our sponsors and patrons that we have. We talked about having some offices up there possibly, because it's going to include an elevator in the decorum room light shop. We purchased that, and we've been talking about doing that for like 30 years. It'll take a while to raise the funds. We're not kicking them out. They're great. They're great renters now that we get, and they collaborate with us on all kinds of things, and actually have given us some lights and some things like that in our theater. But eventually, we would like to have an elevator go up, because we don't have an elevator. Obviously, in 1887 they didn't. That would connect the two buildings. We don't have a green room. I mean, well, it's in the basement, and it's
also creepy.
Your stairs in here look pretty good compared to what we have. So we had that, and plus we need larger restrooms. There's always a huge line outside of the restrooms, because it just wasn't planned for back in the day.
So you've been in there, so each of the restrooms. Well, the women's restroom only has 2 stalls, and it's very tiny. So we got to make an improvement there.
Yes, absolutely.
Some of the future planning, definitely.
Yeah. So as John mentioned, we bought the building next door, 215 West Lincoln Way, that has a light store in it.
Okay.
So eventually, part of our renovation will be using that space as well. We've already moved a bunch of our costumes over there, because the costumes upstairs were really heavy, the melodrama costumes.
Oh, I'm sure.
So,
yeah, you probably had to move stuff out of the upstairs.
We did. Yeah. A lot of stuff went to the junk pile, but a lot of it we just moved over to 215 or over to the Atlas, or not the Atlas, the Mary Godfrey Playhouse on Pershing. But yeah, what John mentioned about our ideas for the second and third floors, those are the main ideas that are getting floated around right now. Maybe having some kind of a dance space, maybe something for children's theater,
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
How many, currently the main theater, how many people, what's the capacity? How many people do you have in there? Can you have in there?
Yeah, we can hold 250 people.
Okay.
So we have the main floor, which most people are familiar with, where with the cabaret tables and where people sit for dinner theater for the melodrama. And then we have the balcony. So between the regular downstairs part with the cabaret tables and the balcony, it holds around 250, close to 250, which is the same capacity as our Mary Godfrey Playhouse on Pershing.
Okay.
That's something else that's in our plan. The balcony, was built in 1908, and people were a lot smaller then, and so our chairs wore out, and so we got chairs that fit us today, and lo and behold, your knees right up against it's like being on a really cheap flight someplace. Very uncomfortable. But part of our goal really is to redo that so it fits current sizes of human beings.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting how we have changed over the last 100 years?
Yeah.
You know,
We have better
years.
Well, and even the
nutrition.
chairs that you buy or the furniture that you probably buy that goes in there, it's probably bigger.
It
Like,
is. It is.
See, well,
You
So-
probably can't even buy
guys.
a little
But yeah. So you're, and I'm not a very tall guy, but my knees are right up against the
You're like,
next
if you're very
chair.
tall, you're not going to fit here.
You're not going to fit there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on some of this getting done finally this year. That's big news.
Oh yeah, we are so excited, Rhea. It's that building has so much history in it and so much soul, and some interesting things that are happening during this stage of the renovation is as our contractor is taking things apart, we're finding interesting secrets.
Oh, like what? We need to know more.
We found a pair of overalls and an old turn of the century suit in some ceiling tiles. And you think, how in the world did two outfits of clothing get put in ceiling tiles?
And why?
And why?
Yeah.
So of course, we come up with the most, fun,
Yes.
sexy stories of how that could have happened.
Scandal. Some scandal.
It's gotta
okay.
be a scandal. And we are finding, we found a brick archway that's at the front of the building that we had no idea was there. We found, can you think of some other things we found there? The clothing, the archway. I know there's more. Wayne Hansen is the head of our group, and he sent us pictures.
Yes. Yeah. It's very interesting.
But it's so fun that we are finding all these secrets. There are more. I just can't remember them off the top of my head. But this building has quite a history, which is part of what you feel when you walk into the building. You can tell these walls have stories. You know, you can
I
tell.
think too, and I'm, as Lindee said, I'm newer to Cheyenne, so I'm still learning, but whenever I hear you, like when I'm hearing you talk about this, or when we've talked about the Atlas Theater before, it just makes me think of, I know I've seen like some newspaper clippings and some chatter about how Cheyenne was like the playground of the rich from the East Coast, correct? And people coming out here in their ball gowns and their things and young people, right? And having a good time while they're here. So it stands to reason that the Atlas Theater holds some stories.
Well, and
that's the case.
That's part of why Cheyenne Little Theater got started. The train came through, and as I mentioned, they brought the opera. We had an opera house, and they brought theater. They brought, there's some really famous historical singers that sang in the Atlas Theater over time. And then when they built the railroad spur to Denver, all that activity moved south 100 miles.
Oh.
And the community that lived here, people that weren't the wealthy, were used to having arts, and it was gone. And so the discussion of the original people that formed Cheyenne Little Theater, and it was 96 years ago, decided we need to have that in our community, so we need to provide it. And that's how we became one of the earliest community theaters in the United States.
It was the Cheyenne Women's Club
Yes.
that said we need to bring the arts back to Cheyenne.
Oh, women.
Yeah.
Of course.
The true frontiers, the frontier women making things happen. It does not surprise me.
And of course, there's stories of how the Atlas was used at one time, being a brothel. Yeah, which there are a lot of signs that was true. People debate whether or not
There's
that was
clothes
true.
in the ceiling
but
tile.
that's what I thought too. I thought, okay, now wait, this is kind of evidence.
It is.
of what could have been going on there. But when you go and tour the second and third floors, you can kind of feel that that's probably true.
Sure.
And all the rooms had a buzzer. Like you could buzz it from downstairs. And I think that was like if they sent somebody up, open your door up. Now, why would you have a buzzer?
Yeah. Why do you need to
Hotel room.
alert somebody?
But there's gorgeous wallpaper up there that we're trying to find a way to preserve in some way some of the pieces of wallpaper that are up there. It's just magnificent wallpaper that you would never see nowadays. You know, the from the turn of the century. You know, it's really beautiful. So there's that history. It was a nightclub at one point. The past owner that we bought the Atlas from had put a bar in there. It was his idea to put a bar in there. So, you know, it has quite a history to it that you feel when you're in the building.
It was the Pink Pony nightclub, and when we
Is that
first,
why the walls are pink?
that's why they were pink, and it was
it.
like, you know, we finally have changed the color to something that was more historical, you know, for a theater back in the day. But it was like, and I kind of thought of it as Pepto-Bismol pink, but that's what it was. It was a nightclub, and that's disco.
Yeah, but probably since you've been married, because were the walls still pink when you were?
I
had your
think so. I
reception
got
there?
married in 2008.
Yes, I bet.
I feel like they were because pink was a color in my wedding. I feel like people matched the venue.
The walls.
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been painted
Or like a mauve
since
pink.
then.
You're right. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a pink you can't really. Yeah.
Yeah. But we've repainted the inside around
Yeah.
there since then. We also did some renovation of our asbestos curtain. So Rhea, you haven't been in there, but we have two curtains on the stage. One is the original asbestos curtain from 1907. And it was very old, of course, and fading, and so you couldn't see a lot of the color details. So the artists that were working on the Capitol at the time of the Capitol renovation had to, there was a break in their work for some reason. So they were here, but they couldn't work at the Capitol at the time. So we got a hold of them and asked them if they could refurbish the colors on our historic asbestos curtain. And they said, we would love to do that.
Wow.
So they came in with, it was fascinating
Oh,
to
yeah,
see them,
watch
all their
them.
paints and chalks and
Because there's a picture on it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
yes,
I
it's a
can't-
Venice.
Okay, I was like, I can't tell you what it is. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are flower pots on the side, and I mean, it was very detailed, pictures of flowers. So we had that all refurbished, and then because it was an asbestos curtain, we also put a protective layer
Sure.
on it so the asbestos flakes could not fly out into the
And
auditorium.
it had that cover before, but we redid all of that.
Yeah,
Sure.
we
And the
redid
purpose,
it.
I don't know if you know the purpose of why asbestos curtains in theaters. Originally, they put candles all along the edge of the stage to light it because they didn't have electricity. And so if there was a fire, they could drop that curtain and just go over all those candles and put it out. It was a safety thing.
Oh, interesting.
That is.
I love history.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
That is great.
Yeah. But we still have that curtain, and
We do.
it's been redone. And it was around that same time, Lindee, that we also repainted the arch, the proscenium arch, and replaced some light bulbs and
Sure.
did those. The ceiling was leaking, so we had to do some work up in the ceiling.
Yeah, around the whole proscenium, the opening to the theater, those lights have been burned out for years. And so we had an electrician come in and get that all rewired. And now we've got, light bulbs all the way around. It looks really nice.
I actually just just spent the weekend in the Black Hills of South Dakota. So I was in Deadwood.
Oh yeah,
And
nice.
since I'm from Gillette, I've spent a lot of time over there. And Deadwood, I guess I'm just bringing this up I love that you're preserving the Atlas Theater and keeping the history here and I think there's been a lot of work to kind of keep some of the historical elements of Cheyenne here because there is such a historical prevalence to a Cheyenne spot in history, right, of the things that went on. But I just bring up Deadwood and that it's one of my favorite places because of all, the work that they've also done to restore and keep that historical look to so many of those buildings downtown there. And it just again, the ambiance, and it keeps, everybody coming there. And I think it would be the same way here, that little area that you guys are in, the Atlas Theater, and keeping it, again, we don't always need brand new. We don't always need new construction. As a matter of fact, the restoring, Lindee and I talk about this all the time, that new construction homes are great. We have to have them, and they're going to continue to evolve and make homes even better. But gosh, one of the things that I really love is a really well restored older home. Because you just keep the character of the home, and we want to keep the character of Cheyenne. And that's what you guys are doing with the Atlas Theater.
And John reminded me this morning to mention this, but when you talk about keeping that flavor of old Cheyenne, our former mayors are also very involved in the Friends of the Atlas and very supportive of us. So every year we hold a meeting of the former mayors who are still living, and they come and spend some time in the Atlas, and we talk about how they can help us with notifying the public about what's going on in the Atlas. But they are very, very supportive of the Atlas because they were mayors.
Yes.
They know how important that building is to downtown and to the history of Cheyenne. So that's been a great blessing for us.
Yes, I imagine so. I see you got a picture there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
There's the
great.
fire curtain.
Yeah, see, there's the curtain.
Ah,
So, and that was probably, you said, before it got redone.
love it.
But yeah, it's like the walls were pink.
Oh, very
See.
nice.
Yeah, I haven't seen that for a while.
Oh my gosh, Lindee.
Well, it doesn't look so bad now that I'm away from it.
Yeah, I was going to.
This must be your wedding reception. Oh, yes, look, there's the
I
paint.
stood up there.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. How
Can you
lovely.
stand up in these now? You can still
Oh,
stand
yes.
up
Still
there.
can. They're still there. You
They're
can
like
still
the
stand
little
in.
balcony thing.
Oh,
Box
sure,
seats,
sure.
little box seats, like what they have at Ford's Theater.
Yes.
That Lincoln
Yes,
was in.
yes.
That they have covered up now with a black curtain.
Yeah,
But yeah, you can see the walls were pink.
they definitely were.
There's better cameras these days. than
Yeah,
just-
but that
well,
gives
than
you
what I
good
took
sense.
these
Shows you,
pictures
yeah.
with, I don't know, but yeah. But it's kind of
great.
cool to look back on it.
So what are some of the annual things that the theater does every year, like in terms of, like you're saying, the melodrama, but what are some of the events, the key things you want to hit on to encourage people to attend this upcoming year?
Well, we just started our new season, our new performance season for Cheyenne Little Theater. Newsies is going on right now, our initial musical, the musical Newsies.
Okay.
It's going on right now at the Mary Godfrey Playhouse.
That's
And
2 more weeks of production.
Okay.
2 more weeks of production. The children's theater, Snow White, has already been cast, and they are starting rehearsals. I'm directing the Christmas show again this year. Miracle on 34th Street is what we're doing this year. And in the past, we have had dinner theater associated with our Christmas shows, and we've done that down at the Atlas. And the Albany caters for us. They just have to take things across the alley, so that
Sure.
works out
Yeah.
really well. So the Albany caters for us, but this year, because of the renovation, we can't have the Christmas show at the Atlas. So we are also having that at the Mary Godfrey Playhouse.
Okay.
So we're
With no
having
dinner.
with no dinner. So we're having to find some alternative rehearsal space.
Sure.
But I'm on the board of My Front Door, and they have been
Sure.
at the old Christ Lutheran.
Yep.
So they're being very kind and letting me use that space for
Sure.
a rehearsal space until I can move in to the Mary Godfrey. So we have some challenges there. But then next year, hopefully everything gets back to normal. But we do 2 musicals a year at
Okay.
Cheyenne Little Theater. We always do a children's show. We usually do a mystery or a drama. John is directing 1984 this year, the George Orwell.
On the dark side of the family.
Sorry. Yeah, he does the dark stuff.
We love both sides.
Need both.
And so he's also directing that, and we're doing Almost Maine, which is a really lovely kind of romantic comedy. It's kind of hard to place it into a genre, but we're also doing that show. And then every year we have the old-fashioned melodrama. Every year. So it was fun reviewing the history of the Atlas this morning that we were doing in preparation for this interview. We were just, reviewing some things. And the melodrama has always been a big moneymaker for Cheyenne Little Theater. So when they first got the idea of doing a melodrama, they thought, well, if we get just a few people coming to see it, we'll be really lucky. They had hundreds of people come and see it. And they made $2,000, which, back then, that was a lot. And so the old-fashioned melodrama has always been, it helps keep us in the black, especially the bar during the old-fashioned melodrama keeps us in the black. And And so we make sure we do that every single year. And I cannot imagine us not ever doing.
And what time of year do
professional
you do
intro.
that again?
Around Frontier Days.
Around Frontier
Around
Days.
Frontier Days,
Okay,
a little before and a little after. And
You should go. It's so fun. You get a boo and hiss at the
Yeah.
yeah. and
Yeah.
cheer for It's so
So
fun.
my middle son Joshua was involved in the community theater up in Gillette, and I didn't realize that like you get popcorn and you can throw the popcorn at the actors.
Yeah,
depending.
well-
No, I'm not saying necessarily that's the way it is
We don't
here,
do
but
that
yeah.
anymore.
we used to, but then we
Yeah.
had people.
the whole bag or something.
Well, worse
Well,
than
people
that.
get a little
They'd
wild
soak it in
with it.
beer and throw it.
Oh,
and this is during.
no.
Well,
They're
we used to do
drunk.
3 shows
Yeah.
during Frontier Days, and so the late night show, they had a lot of people that came to that show had already started on the drinking, and so it got a little wild, and it's like, okay, we got to protect our actors.
Yeah, I would say maybe a little
So
disrespectful.
we got little foam
Yeah.
balls they could throw, and then they started
Okay.
dipping those in beer, and it's like, so we stopped, so we had to stop that, but it's definitely an audience participation.
Some people just ruin it for
That's
everybody.
Yeah.
Exactly what happens. Yeah. Every once in a while, we'll get a little kid in the front row who will throw a piece of popcorn at the villain or something, and we
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
get weird about it.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
villain just stops and makes
Yeah.
some kind of funny comment.
Yeah.
She's got to move.
I would be a good villain.
You would be. You should audition for villain. You'd be good at it. We had a female villain this last summer.
Oh, you did.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. I just love the theater, and I do. I'm looking forward to you guys opening back up the Atlas Theater so we can get in there. That's going to be
Yeah, we'll make sure we invite you.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
We're going to
Welcome.
have some kind of a opening ceremony, probably in January, maybe
Okay.
February. It depends, on how things go. But we'll make sure we invite
Yes,
you.
please
so you
do.
can
We would love to come.
go in there and see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
How exciting. Was there anything else you want to share? Anything else you want the public to know?
I would just add that the public support that we receive, not just financially, but also coming to the shows. Every time you come to one of our shows, it helps us not only at the Atlas and the Mary Godfrey Playhouse, but also the arts in our community and the history and ambiance of our community. And the arts are actually quite strong here in Cheyenne, surprisingly.
We had Steve Knox on
Oh, yeah.
here a month or two ago talking about, is it Arts Cheyenne? Arts, is
Yeah,
that what it is?
Arts
Yes.
Yeah.
And he made the point, which is an excellent point, is that there's a lot more art and culture going around town if you just look for it. But you maybe when you're driving around and you're busy, running errands with your kids and doing all the things, you maybe don't always notice it, but it's there and it's really prevalent in
Yeah.
much of what we do.
And we have a lot of talent here. So Cheyenne Little Theater is all volunteer. So our actors and directors and tech crew and all of that are volunteers. And every time I direct a show or go to see a show at Little Theater, I am always stunned by the amount of talent that we have here in this community. People who are really, really good actors and singers and dancers and light designers and sound designers. They live here and work with they're our friends and neighbors.
Yes.
And we've had some people from Fort Collins come up and audition that are like in Candlelight in their theaters. It's,
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're doing that show? I really want to be in it. They'll come up, and we've got
Love that.
Newsies right now. We have an individual coming up every day from Fort, or 2 people every
Two
day.
people. One our
has to-
grandson.
One our grandson is coming up, but yeah, people that are semi-professional coming up and joining us, which I think that speaks highly of their experience.
And I think we talk about this all the time, especially with our small businesses, that if we want these things to be present in our community, we have to go. We have
That's
to
right.
attend. That's right.
That's right. The theater went through a real tough time a few years ago, and there had been some rumors around town about us closing down, which were not true. But those rumors get started, and people were really upset. We can't lose Cheyenne Little Theater, which was very heartwarming to us.
Yeah.
But the best way to never lose the culture in Cheyenne is to go buy tickets. Come to our shows, go to our dinner theaters, come to our fundraising events. And the people who go see a play for the first time, we always hear, I had no idea how much fun it was.
Yeah.
So come for the first time.
Yes.
Oh,
I love that.
And the theater has a good financial impact on our community. And some data I looked at, a national study indicated that for every ticket bought, $34 is spent out besides the ticket in the community.
So like for dinner. or drinks or dessert
Yeah.
or
Hotel people.
Yeah.
We have people from other
Clothes.
places come out, clothes. Yeah, average 34 per ticket. You know, in fact, when we went, Brenda had mentioned we went to Levelland, and of course we're in this little Western shop next door that the guy has run for 54 years.
Wow.
And we contributed more than $34.
Sure we did.
yeah, sure.
We bought jeans and jackets and shirts and
Love it. Yeah.
so we thought, okay, the theater made a difference in this community. But yeah, you go to the Wrangler next door and get a cowboy hat or something, and then go have dinner at the Albany or Ribbon Chop. Or I mean, there's a lot of financial benefit
It's a great date
for the
night.
art.
It
is.
It's a great date night. Yes.
And the show Almost May next year would be a really fun one to take a date to. And I think it's even playing over Valentine's
It is.
Day.
It is.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Fun.
it's about relationships
Oh.
Yeah.
in a very humorous sort of way.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to have to go. Awesome. Well, so where can people learn more about the Atlas Theater and what you have going on?
Yep. Well, Cheyenne Little Theater has a website, of course. It's CheyenneLittleTheater.org, and theater is spelled the old-fashioned way, with R-E. But if you just Google Cheyenne Little Theater players or just Cheyenne Little Theater, it'll come up.
Okay.
And then we have a full website that has information about our auditions, our shows, how to get tickets. But there's also a place where you can click on Friends of the Atlas. I can't remember if it's on the left or right, but it's on the webpage. And then you click on there, and then you get taken to more information about the Atlas Theater. Or we also have tours. I don't know if Kelly's doing tours right now.
No, well, not due to the construction, but
Oh yeah,
Soon, probably.
yeah, we
Yeah.
do tours throughout Frontier Days, and then by appointment they can do tours for folks and do that quite often. So we'll get back to that once everything is secure.
Kelly Douglas. I don't know if you know her. She works at DFS now, actually. She is our. She's our tour director. She runs our tour. She's wonderful. She is so good at that.
Oh, I love it. She's a storyteller.
Yeah,
She's a storyteller.
yes, and
I think
she-
to do tours, you got to be a storyteller.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And full of love.
Yes.
A building like that, if you love it, you can't hardly stay away from it.
Sure. Well, to wrap this up, a question I have for you, which I think you've maybe already answered, but what is your favorite thing about Cheyenne?
I told John that you always ask this question. I said, so be ready.
Be ready.
And I'm going to answer first, if that's okay.
Oh, please do.
So it was a tie between a couple things. One of them is what we already talked about, which is the artistic culture, the arts culture here. But I think besides that, what really moves me is the history. The history of this place is so fascinating from its very beginnings to where we are now as a community. Cheyenne has a wonderful, wonderful history. And you go to different places, like back to Iowa, where I'm from, and there's a mystique about living in Wyoming and living in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah.
And I think that mystique a lot of times comes from our valuable and fascinating history.
I would agree. Yeah, I love that.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. Well, for me, I spent my whole life in education and started as a teacher, retired as a superintendent of schools. And I think about the drive of people to make things better, whether it's in school or community theater. We both served on Arts Cheyenne board previously.
Okay.
And you see people, they keep coming back and new people coming in. And I think we create a great, wonderful environment as new people come in because we love our community, but we don't close people out.
Yes.
As a community. And I think, I've been involved in lots of different organizations, and it's like, no, we want to bring you in and embrace you. I always loved that we had an air base here because we'd always get fresh new perspectives. And when I was teaching, you'd hear some things about other places and other countries where, kids had lived before they came here, and we'd share that. But like I said, I just love how we embrace each other and bring each other together as one kind of big family. And it's not such a big community that people push people out rather than embrace them.
I feel like we've heard that a little bit lately, haven't we? Maybe more so than usual, that there's a real desire to help and to be there for each other. So I love that.
Important right now.
Yay. It is important because it does not exist everywhere, I don't think.
It doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
We've heard from guests that have been on that have come from a different state, and they're like, this does not exist where they come from. So I'm super thrilled that, and hopefully we can maintain and preserve that.
Yeah, we hope so
Exactly.
too.
Yeah.
And so we see the arts as one way that we can continue to preserve that. That's kind of a discussion that we have within the arts community a lot.
Yay. I love it.
And then my question is real estate related because we're real estate agents. So we got to know something about real
I was
estate.
ready for this one too.
Okay, if you could buy real estate anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? And money's no object, so
money's
just
no object.
wherever you. And what would you buy?
I would buy a condo on Maui.
She knew already. I'm ready.
I already know. We have a timeshare in Maui, and every time we go, I look along the shore and all the condos that are for sale. And anyway, I thought about either that or Ireland, but it'd be Maui.
Maui. Probably easier to get to for sure, huh?
Yeah, and oceanfront, and
Yep. That's a great answer. I love that.
Sounds amazing.
I don't even think I have to explain that.
No,
Everyone knows.
it needs no explanation.
Well, I'm going to make a comment about my lovely wife. We like to travel quite a bit, and wherever we go, she wants to move there.
I can see that. She's
it's-
just such a happy person that I'm sure she doesn't need to.
I mean,
wherever you are, you'd be happy.
We're in Montana. Oh, we should get a place here.
Yeah.
And then I always say, no, I'm going to stay in Cheyenne because our children, our grandchildren, our friends, and our family are all here. So you know what? I'm not a homebody. I like to travel, but I always like to come home, and this is my home.
Yeah. I'm guessing if you could build anything anywhere in the world, you would probably invest in the Atlas Theater.
Absolutely.
Oh, there you go. That's
Right?
the right answer.
Yes.
That's the answer.
And we have lots of people say, "Oh, I went out and bought lotto tickets." Well, we can only do that so much, and it doesn't really go anywhere.
It isn't going
So now we're making it
anywhere.
real through FODA. But
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you both. Thank you, Brenda, for reaching out. This has been so much fun.
Oh,
We
it
love
has
history.
been fun. Thank
Yes.
you for welcoming us.
Of course. Thank
Come
you so
back
much.
anytime you
Yeah,
want.
come back anytime. We'd love
Maybe
to have
we
you.
can come back when this renovation's done.
Yes.
We can
and tell
talk
us
to you
about
about
how
what
it went
happened.
and what you have going on up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
or perhaps since we're both directing, maybe talk about what it's like to direct a show,
Ooh, that would be
how to
really
put it all
cool.
together.
that's
We are
a great
looking for
idea.
we've been talking. I mean, you've listened to our podcast. We do want to keep expanding our topics. So that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be.
Behind the
about-
scenes.
Really good
Behind
idea.
the scenes.
I have to tell you, one time we did we brought in our season ticket holders and just gave them a tour, and we had people that had been going to our season ticket holder for 40 years, had never seen the backside of a stage, and what it looked like and how we did it and all of that. So it'd be great just to share that with the whole community.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah,
Let's
we would
do
love
it.
that. Yep.
Yep.
That's a great idea. We'll do that.
All right. Well, for all of our listeners, of course, be sure to tune in and find the Cheyenne Lyttle Theater and the Atlas Cheyenne Lyttle. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Cheyenne Little
Cheyenne Lyttle
Theater.
Theater.
Players.
Yep. Check out their performances and stay abreast of what's happening with the Atlas Theater. We can't wait to come in and see it all done. That's going to be
Good.
great. And as you all know, Lindee and I are realtors. And so if you're looking to buy or sell, we'd love to help you with that. You can find us at sellcheyenne.com as well as all of our social media channels. And of course, Beyond the Front Door podcast on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, and pretty much anywhere you're listening. We hope you have a really great day.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.